So, why is it not a Toyota that I'm changing to from my Haval H6? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Dimitri and this is Value Cars Australia, and thank you for joining me today to listen to my tale of woe, which, by the way, Toyota is not at fault in this particular case. Spoiler alert, they worked so hard, it's not even funny through this process. But let's put all the events in order. Did you make yourself a cup of tea just yet? Because you probably will need one. Make yourself comfortable. It's an unscripted video, but I'll be talking to you as if we are having a coffee and having a little bit of a conversation about what really happened. I will try to make it as succinct and factual as possible before I rant on and on and on. Okay, so I sold my Haval H6, GWM Haval H6. I still believe that GWM vehicles are very solid vehicles if you pay for them cash, perhaps, or any other way, it doesn't matter, but you're planning to run them into the ground. You're planning to have them with you until the wheels come off, okay? And these are very solid vehicles, they'll last you a long time. That's the first thing. Why I sold mine? Because I needed cash to put back into the mortgage, and I got access to novated leasing, which makes a lot more financial sense to me. Watch my other videos where I talk about methods of paying for your car. I thought of Toyota because Toyota is a very weird beast in Australia. We're not talking about whether their cars are objectively better than other cars. Not talking about that. What we're talking about is how those cars are perceived on the Australian market at the end of 2023. And they are perceived as those beacons of value, you know? Like right now, if you have a Toyota Prado and it's in good condition and it's not very old, you know, per se, not with too many kilometers on the clock, chances are that you can sell it as a used car privately, of course. If you trade into the dealership, you'll lose some money. But if you sell it privately, you can probably sell it for the same amount that you bought it for, if not for more. Okay, that is what we're talking about here. So after I sold my Haval H6 and after I took that hit of 20-25% of depreciation in the first year, I was like, not doing it ever again to myself. That's how Toyota came into my view, not the fact that I thought it's particular, you know, creature comforts or particular luxury thrown at me in this price category. I was always very realistic about that. I went to lovely people at Chatswood Toyota. I don't want to specifically single one or two people out who I dealt with because I am just conscious that it will make it feel awkward for them. But I have to say on record, they were awesome. They were really, really, really good people. My salesperson is a person who I would like to become friends with. I'll be honest. And there is nothing for me saying this to you now. There is nothing for me to be gained from this statement if it wasn't true. So take it for what it is. It was like a therapy session when I went there. I'll be honest with you, I went there a couple of times. I considered different cars. I told you that I would like a sense of a Jeep back. Yes? Well, I wasn't buying a Jeep. Even though I was a fan of owning my own Jeep a few years ago now, but that's now history, unfortunately for me, right? So we took a look at Toyota Prado and at Toyota Fortuna. Toyota Prado is unexplainably, ridiculously expensive for what it is, and it is insanely popular among Australians, and you could sell your slightly used Toyota Prado right now unless you have beaten it up into a pulp, and unless there are too many kilometers on the clock, you can probably sell right now a used Toyota Prado for the same money that you bought it for. That's how crazy it is. Toyota Prado is unavailable right now at Toyota Chatswood and you know, anywhere else at this point in time, at least in the Toyota dealers of Sydney, and it is ultimately out of my price category as well. So that was a no-go. I took a look at Fortuna. Fortuna is on a Hilux frame. It is a lovely vehicle, really looks good, kind of would satisfy me on many levels, and they even had a Fortuna. But at that point in time, that was still hitting a higher end of the money that I wanted to spend on it in terms of how much it costs. And I had a conversation, and that's where the therapy session effect came into play. And we spoke, and my salesperson helped me understand that the criteria of sitting higher, that's great. But at the same time, why people buy Fortunas? People buy Fortunas to tow their boats, their, you know, houses on wheels, whatever. And they are not after creatures comforts or after the primary purpose of camping in the car occasionally or driving around the city. Of course they drive around the city, but it's a solid, first and foremost, it's a robust, rugged, solid vehicle on a Hilux frame with leaf spring suspension at the back and other kind of stuff. It is you need to be aware of what you're buying with that kind of car. And I was totally sold on it at first, but then I thought, you know what, I do want to fit in a lot of stuff into the car. I want to camp inside of the car. I want an all-wheel drive capability, but I don't need to have all that true 4x4 business going on just to make it work. At that point in time, I was also lucky enough to see that they had a Toyota Kluger or Toyota Highlander. If you live somewhere outside of Australia, they are branded as Klugers here in Australia and Highlanders in America, I know for sure, and in some other parts of the world perhaps as well. Okay, I immediately liked it. It's a bit bare bones in terms of what they had. That was a bottom of the range but all-wheel drive GX model Toyota Kluger. Lovely, massive, insane amount of space inside. Very, very rudimentary creature comforts kind of levels, manual adjustment of the seats, but everything that I kind of needed at that point in time. However, still pushing rather high into a price category for me personally, into the low 60,000 Australian dollars for an all-wheel drive model, not a two-wheel drive model. Okay, cool. So acting in the moment, knowing that the car is available right now, liking it, taking it for a drive, it was lovely, and sort of my again salesperson helped me understand that this is probably the use case I'm looking at. Yeah, I decided to put a deposit on it and I decided to take it. So I was really excited, put a deposit down, and went to arrange the novated leasing. What happened after that is that my novated leasing company took its time. Again, I have actually a very good person who I dealt with, but they depend on internal units within the novated leasing company, such as finance approvals, for example. And one way or another, it took a long time. And I apologize, my story is already taking a long time too, but I told you there are a lot of steps in this, and if you want to hear the whole thing, well, here you go. So approval of finance for novated leasing took time. All this paperwork took time. It was over 2 weeks since the moment when I visited Chatswood Toyota. The car was sitting there on the floor the whole time. And at the last moment, when, metaphorically speaking, I was pretty much close to the finish line, to cross that finish line, hey, handshake between Toyota and leasing company, Dimitri gets the car delivered, and I was even recording the other videos already, pretty much thinking it's a done deal. I told you in the previous video that I'm getting a Toyota, didn't I? Well, I truly believed that I was. And then, brace yourself for impact. Factory recall. Factory recall on a batch of those Toyota Klugers happened. My person at the dealership didn't know it, which is why I said to you, it's not Toyota's fault. Well, it's certainly not the dealership's fault. I'm not blaming them. I am frustrated, but I'm not blaming them. So that's what happened, my friends. That's why. So the Klugers got recalled. I went through this whole coming back home, talking to my wife, speaking, about this whole situation, and deciding that it starts feeling like this Kluger was just not coming my way. I'm not gonna be too karmic about it or kind of create this sense of me being such a fatalist, fate didn't give it to me, but it was just not coming my way. Finance was not approved for a long time. Now this freaking recall, what am I supposed to do? My salesperson was actually happy, by the way, for the record, was happy to try and find me a Kluger from a different batch that is not recalled, whatever. We just didn't go down that track. He offered every assistance possible, and I said, you know what? I'm done. I accept the damage in this particular case of waiting for such a long time. I'm sorry if it's disappointing, but I am gonna look elsewhere. And that's that. That is why it's not Toyota, my friends. So I know that a lot of people who ordered Klugers as well right now are suffering. They paid money and now waiting for delivery, and who knows how long. So I feel for everyone in this particular situation, but this is my part of it. That's just what happened to me. Yeah. Happy to discuss with you in the comments down below. Again, don't blame Toyota and think that everyone involved in this process tried to help as much as they could. But whether it's karma, whether it's whatever you want to call it, this lovely, lovely Kluger didn't come my way. Now, as a wrap up, what am I doing now? Okay, well, I am trying to gracefully wrap up the situation with Toyota. I will follow up with another video to, if you're interested, to tell you how it was handled so that you have the end of the saga. You know, it hasn't ended yet as of the moment of recording of this video. Has not ended yet. And I'm right now closely looking at the options. From the options of what else now fits into that category of a car that I know will have a massive amount of space inside, yet have some personality that I would be okay with, and will drive nicely, and will be a Japanese car. Yeah, I am going with Japanese still for now, sticking to the same fear of Chinese car depreciating too fast. So I'm still on that train, right? So with that in mind, to kind of give you a bit of an idea, I'm looking, really, I trimmed down my other choices to 2 brands and possibly 2 even models. First one is Subaru Outback. Subaru Outback is a lovely car, it looks nice, it's a little lower than I would like it to be. It's not an SUV, it's a wagon. But so is the Kluger. So was the Kluger. I actually think that Subaru Outback is like a little younger brother, not even that little, but a younger brother of Toyota Kluger, except with a lot more creatures comforts, with a lot more kind of conveniences of life inside than you get in a GX lineup of Toyota Kluger. So that's the first one. If you have an opinion on Subaru Outback, talk to me right now. I want to hear from you right now in the comments down below. Second option within sort of this similar price category, which is, by the way, well, conveniently $10,000 cheaper than the Kluger. Both these options, both the Outlander and this option. This option is Honda CR-V. 2024 model, new one. I'm saying the new one, the slightly boxier, slightly bulkier one. I test drove one yesterday just to have an idea, because I started already playing with these thoughts. I like it. I like Honda CR-V. I drove it yesterday. This is not a review, obviously, and if you would like me to have a more thorough kind of conversation with you, how I felt about it, please just talk to me. That's how we go, right? This is a club. I talk to you, you talk to me. I like CR-V. I liked people who gave it to me for an extended test drive. I even drove it all the way from Sydney Artarmon back to Ryde where I live, to show it to my wife, to have her opinion. So they were very accommodating. Lovely, lovely people. Like, well-deserved shout out to Honda Artarmon, to North Shore Honda in this particular case, and their manager there. So it was really a good experience. I showed it to my wife. She sort of liked it. She said, yeah, it's kind of more your style in terms of sitting a bit higher. It's a bit more of an SUV, obviously. Yeah. However, we both found it a bit, even in the higher range, even in the top model, which was like $57,000, right? Like, it's not a cheap car, okay? A little basic and a bit bare bones inside. Yes, it has leatherette seats. Yes, it has the wooden insets in the panels, which make it look a little more kind of premium, I suppose. Premium is a good word. But everything else is plastic, everything else is kind of basic, everything else is kind of, I am dancing around this word, but I'm gonna say it, boring. It's a bit boring. It's less boring on the outside, but that's what Honda has been doing lately. ZR-V, new renewed HR-V, and now this CR-V 2024 model. A lot more fun, a lot more interesting on the outside. On the inside, however, ZR-V and CR-V are good, and HR-V I bashed within an inch of its life, as it's deserved it, because it is just a missed opportunity for Honda, and they made such a bad job with giving us something for $37,000. Watch that video separately. And CR-V, of course, is higher range. They gave us a bit more, but it's still a bit boring and a bit bare bones. I'm gonna say that to you. Additionally to that, I looked at CR-V, and in CR-V, for my use case of camping in the car, I need a flat back, luggage space. Once I fold the seats, I need a flat surface. I don't want to build platforms. We're not going to deviate to camping situation in this video, yeah? And in CR-V, in the Outback, yes, I can do that. And in the CR-V, it's a bit like that. It's a bit like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's weird. It's weird. Honda was always known for the magic seats, at least in their Honda Jazz. I'm a fan. It's a fan talking, you know? Otherwise, I wouldn't be considering Honda. But in this case, I was almost disappointed. I wanted to like it. Yeah? And that's where I'm at right now. As you can see from this conversation, I'm leaning towards Subaru Outback. So that gives you extra volume to talk to me about it, especially if you have insights. Maybe you're an owner of a Subaru, talk to me. But that is what I'm thinking. That is how I basically, from my Haval, through being very committed to Toyota, I am now sort of leaning into this gray area, which ultimately has kind of two competitors there that I am looking at very seriously as cars, but one of them is a little bit ahead of others. And that's all I have for you today. It was a long video. If you sat through all of it, you're special. You are people who, who make me want to do more of this. People who pop in or read the thumbnail, maybe, I don't know, expand the description, take a look at what other new deals our sponsors are offering in the description, and then leave. Those people are welcome. Everyone is welcome. But at the same time, people who stay, people who talk, people who give me likes, people who subscribe for more content, people who show their support are the ones who I openly want to give a nice warm brotherly hug to. Thanks very much for watching. I'll talk to you next time about something else. Well, probably how this saga ends, right? Related. See you later. Goodbye for now.